I'm worried that a large chunk of the DeFi Kingdoms community has possibly fallen prey to group think. If you are big into DeFi Kingdoms, you hold heroes. This is the absolute most important thing we should all be asking ourselves, asking the devs, asking the community, is this point. This is what we should be thinking on. This is absolutely the most important aspect of the game, of our heroes. I've already hit on it. I'm going to hit on it again. Leveling. If you saw my past videos over the past few days, I created the 10 commandments of DeFi Kingdoms. And within the 10 commandments, it's all about leveling this game. First of all, the first of the 10 commandments is to understand that the game is all about leveling your heroes. Also understand that all heroes are good. Okay, those 2 points are super important. My third commandment has had a lot of pushback, and I realized, whoa, this is kind of mainstream thought in the community, is the pushback against this statement. The third commandment, always level up all heroes according to profession, is my statement. If you watched my video the other day, I have awesome guilds that I'm in. Shout out to the guilds. It's so fun. I got some pushback, and it's good, juicy pushback here. Good stuff. This is super important. He said, Dizzy, shout out to Dizzy. Awesome guys. So it's totally okay to disagree with anything I say. I love you. I love the feedback, because especially on this point, especially the time and effort and money that we're putting into this game, we need to know what's going on when it comes to leveling. Okay, so hopefully you watched some of those past videos. I really hit on this a few videos ago the other day. On the video where I talk about, is it better to own Jewel or Crystal? In that video, I hit on this pretty hard too. Trying to keep these videos shorter. Sorry, my brain is crazy. I'm all over the place. Thanks for bearing with me. Okay, he said, I would highly recommend updating your 10 commandments if you make another video. I could not possibly disagree more, right? This is juicy. With your advice to level up all heroes for their professions. According to Hubert, professions are, quote, a small part of a much bigger picture. So I think it seems silly to throw away a hero's overall potential, overall potential just for profession questing. To be honest, when I saw you say sages should get dex guaranteed, hurt my soul. Okay. LOL. You should never, all caps, be giving sages guaranteed dex. Sages are combat heroes, not profession questers. Also, it really doesn't make sense. Okay, sorry. He also said, I don't believe you should ever focus a sage on its profession. Even if you did, though you should undoubtedly be given the guaranteed stat to intelligence. Okay. He said this. The bonus rolls are totally independent of the class rolls, so by dedicating the guaranteed to dex rather than intelligence, you're gaining literally nothing. This is so good. So this is the most important conversation we should be having as far as in-game leveling. More important is this project surviving, getting everything moved to Crystal Vale, getting Serendale moved off Harmony. If it's not going to last, doesn't look good for Harmony. Okay, obviously that's more important. So the devs are so focused on that. I've been wanting for months to there's so many things I was desperately wanting to talk to the devs about, but it's just like one firestorm after another. I don't even want to bother them, but this is super important. You're literally gaining nothing by getting dex instead of intelligence for a sage, he says. And potentially losing out on intelligence stat point, which would benefit you both in profession questing combat, rather than just profession questing. The price tag for sages comes from their combat potential, so it seems counterintuitive to spend the money for a combat hero and then not focus on its stats to combat. Okay, so the groupthink has kind of fallen into this ideas around leveling a hero based off combat, which is this mysterious pie in the sky. We don't know what's going on with combat at all. We don't have hardly anything, any information on combat. The most important part of the game is leveling your heroes. How do we level our heroes? Do we level it according to a mysterious ideas that different people have with combat? This is crucial, guys. Crucial. The chart shows that stats. The chart shows the stats that sages scale naturally. So he's kind of making a point that you need to let a hero scale naturally with their stats and focus on the guaranteed stat and the two stat rolls, not off profession, but off what we think, which is pure conjecture. I've asked everyone a million times over the last several months, but especially over this last week. What do we know about combat? No one knows anything. All we have is this white paper stats page that's literally 1 to 2 sentences on each stat. Okay, this is all we have. Okay, so in my eyes, it only makes sense to give certain class better odds for certain stats if those stats were going to be relevant to that class. Dex is one of the lowest stats on a sage. So I take... And he's basically saying that the sage should have better proficiency in combat if you focus on the stats that they naturally level up on. Okay, so, and if you watch my video the other day, I really pushed back. So I'm gonna expound on that some more right now. Here's another proof. This is from the hero discussion community, a leveling chart. And notice how this leveling chart doesn't necessarily, mostly ignores profession. Which my 10 commandments says, no. Focus on their profession. Here's why. And this is, the more I think about this, the more I talk about it, which I think about it all the time, is simply this. Let's hit on real quick. Hubert saying, I think also part of what happened here with this leveling chart is that we kind of want to hear what we want to hear at times. Do you remember when we all first started and we had a summon? We didn't know what the hell we're doing in the game. And you have this great summon and you get a ninja and then you turn it around and it's a gardener. And so first we're like, well, screw that profession. We're just gonna quest as a fisher and ignore that he's a gardener. We quickly realize, no, that doesn't work very well. That's counterintuitive. And then the team came out and clarified and made it clear that the foundational gene of the hero is its profession gene. And so kind of pissed us all off, right? You summon this awesome ninja. You don't want to use the ninja as a gardener. You want to use him as a fisher and a forager. So we try to work around it. So then we're just like, fine, I'll just quest him as a gardener, but level him as if he's a fisher. That became the mindset. And partly due to, so there is pushback in the community. It's like, And Hubert says, it's just a small part of a bigger picture. Well, that's true. So Hubert's saying, my takeaway, I've listened to every single AMA they've ever done, even though I came in late in the game. I'm a late bloomer in DeFi Kingdoms. I came in at the end of March, early April is when I started getting more serious, which is why I've gotten destroyed, because that's when it was like at $10, $11. Okay, and I was just listening all day, every day to everything DeFi Kingdoms that I could. Listen to Climb Crypto Clone. Is it Climb or Clone Crypto? Tosh and the Inner Grove. All the Inner Grove. Where you all been at, by the way? Come on. Where you guys at? Okay. And listen to all the AMAs. Fell in love with the project, the team. Actually, Drake on Digital was the one. And also some of these other guys, the Brown Gent and Kristen, Peter. These guys got me excited about the game. But Drake on Digital was the very first time I'd ever heard of it in the first place. I haven't heard him talk about DeFi Kingdoms at all. So we need to get these guys back in. Best project in all of crypto. So anyways. So the groupthink, I think we hear what we want to hear. So there's pushback saying, no, like people didn't like what they were hearing. Well, obviously, so Hubert comes out and says, profession questing is a small part of a much bigger picture. Very, very small part, the profession questing. Okay, but that doesn't take away that the profession gene is the foundational part of the hero. It's absolutely the most important foundational aspect of that hero is the profession gene. And it's the access to which we level a hero up. So I don't know if any of you guys have like a level 15 hero plus, even a level 10. To get a hero from level 10 to level 11 is a pain in the ace. If you're not using bots, especially bots, shout out to the bots. When I got a level 15 hero, last week, I think I threw 100 stamina potions at him, trying to get him in, competing for the contest, but trying to get him leveled up. And that hardly put a freaking dent in his leveling. Imagine when they're at level 25 trying to get to level 26 or level 50 trying to get to level 51. The key to leveling a hero, and just philosophically thinking, I don't know, the community is kind of broken up heroes into profession questers versus combat heroes. That doesn't compute with me either, because all heroes are questers. How do we level a hero up? They have to quest. So any quote unquote PvP combat hero that you have, you level him up by questing. So he needs to be a good quester, and he needs to quest in his profession. That's how you get the best ROI, for one, is you quest the hero, you get items, and when we get the items, it gives XP. Each item has its own amount of XP. That's how we level up quicker. So what's going to happen is, what I'm worried about on this groupthink is that, first of all, what do we even know about combat? Nothing. We don't know anything. So this is super important. Getting on this talk.defikingdoms.com. This should be all of our most important number one focus of trying to learn exactly how is the best way to level our heroes up. Now, I think the way kind of the team develops the game is that there's not necessarily a right or wrong way to do anything. Different things can benefit different things. And okay, so profession questing is a small part of a much bigger picture, because this game's going to reach into so many different directions. Metaverse, other games built on top of games, card games. Our heroes will be able to be used all over the place. So yeah, the profession questing is a tiny cog in the wheel, essentially, but it's the foundational. When we build a house, you have a cornerstone or a foundation, and then you build up from that. The hero's foundation is the profession gene. And once you have a hero that hits level 25, if you have a sage and I have a sage at level 25, and all along I've been leveling that hero up according to its profession, and you have been ignoring the profession, which the team has also said, like my takeaway this whole time is it's like very unwise to ignore the profession. Never ignore the profession of your hero. That was like drilled into us at first. So don't ignore the profession. So if you have a hero if you have a sage and I have a sage, I've been leveling him up based off what I know, which is that it's very important for a foraging sage to be good on dex and intelligence. That's what I know. We don't know anything about combat yet, but you've been leveling up your hero based off the conjecture of what you think might possibly become and happen based off combat, which it's all conjecture. So everything he said in these texts, and I've asked a zillion people, unless I could be wrong, unless someone knows something that I don't know. So if someone knows some information that I don't know, I am all ears, and I'll do a video that I'm wrong, changing the 10 commandments like in a heartbeat. But the fact is, as far as I know, no one really knows. Okay. None of the biggest DeFi Kingdoms gurus that I'm friends with and developers really actually know. So if you have a sage at level 25, and I have a sage at level 25, you've been leveling him up the whole time based off what you think he'll perform best at. And I have, let's even say I have a minor sage, and you have a minor sage at level 25. That's more of an extreme example. And the goal is to get to level 100. All along, you've been ignoring the profession stats of strength and endurance for a sage because that's like his weakest link. But I've been like padding the strength and endurance the whole time. And obviously, I'm still leveling up the other stats. Okay, just who's going to get to level 50 first? And then who's going to get to level 75 first? I mean, it's exponential how long that takes and how brutal that is. Now, I know there's going to be Profession 10 quests coming and things like that. And hopefully we can level our guys up faster. Maybe we can level our guys up in other ways, but we don't know that. We don't exactly know how anything's going to work out. All we know is that foragers are good at dex and intelligence. That's not going to change. That's not going to change. Foragers, dex, and intelligence. They're not going to completely change up how questing is done. Almost for sure they wouldn't do that. So I'll get to level 50 much faster than you'll get to level 50. And then I'll get to level 75 much faster than you get to level 75. Which means all along I've been leveling up better, for one, and faster. I've been getting a better ROI out of my hero. And I'll have more stat points because I'm leveled up faster. The other thing, okay, most of the things this guy said, Dizzy, most of the things, sorry for saying this guy, most of the things Dizzy said here is not confirmed. It's all conjecture. Saying, okay, throwing away a hero's overall potential. How do you know that I'm throwing away a sage's overall potential by not having dex? How do you know that? Because dex, look at what dex does. How do we know that a sage with lots of dex, maybe that's gonna actually make a better PvP hero, is to have heroes with balanced stats. And maybe, for example, if I have a paladin, maybe paladins, the few amount of paladins out there that are strong with luck and intelligence and dexterity and agility, maybe those paladins turn out being the best paladins in PvP because they're more balanced. How do we know that that's not the case? We don't. So, and especially with dex too, of all things, because it plays a role in defense, but it also modifies attack damage for certain weapons. So if you have a paladin that has more dex modifying attack damages, like which makes it stronger, the attack damage, with luck getting a critical strike. So if we look down here with luck, the higher a hero's luck, the more likely it is for a hero to land a critical strike. So you get a paladin combined with dex and luck, or like a dark knight, that might just be the bomb. But here's the thing, we don't know. Here's what we know. You want to level your hero up as fast as humanly possible. How do you do that? By having good stats, especially once you hit level 15 and up. Because it's hard to get more profession stats at that point. Like my level 15 Thief Fisher, legendary Perilous Journey, beautiful hunk of man flesh, hardly ever gets any more fishing profession gene stats leveled up. Like the level of the profession gene hardly ever goes up, because the more you level your hero up, the harder it is to get the profession gene stat, which is 2/3 of the importance, by the way. So how of the bonus that we get, 2/3 of it goes to the profession stat. So as we level our hero up more and more and more, now all of this could change. We could get new alpha, and so all of this is subject to change. But what we know is that dex and intelligence will help, as especially you get the sage past level 15, you're going to need that dex and intelligence to quest better. You win more contests. You can do so much more with the hero when you follow the profession. You get more loot, which gives you more XP, which means you level up faster. How long have I been going? I probably went too long. This is the most important part of the game. So a lot of these things he said is unconfirmed. It's groupthink. It's groupthink. He said, all caps, never. You should never be giving sages guaranteed dex. How do you know that? How do you know? Sages are combat heroes, not profession questers. Well, but you have to quest to level up. I think all heroes are combat heroes. How do we know that that's not the case? And all heroes have to be profession questers. Like, all heroes have to be good profession questers if you want to level them up. How do we get around this? Also, it really doesn't make sense. Okay. And then I don't believe you should ever focus a sage on his profession. Even if you did, though, you should undoubtedly. He said, the bonus rolls are totally independent of the class rolls. So by dedicating the guaranteed dex rather than intelligence, you are gaining literally nothing. How is it gaining nothing to have a sage have dex? Because he doesn't naturally level up as fast? Well, just because he doesn't naturally level up as fast on a particular stat, that doesn't mean anything. We don't know any of this, if any of this is true. Now, maybe he's right. Maybe he's spot on, but I'm just saying it's conjecture. It might be spot on that that dex won't help a sage in the same way it will help other heroes in combat. That might be true. We know that all the stats matter in combat. But when you look at duels and things, you just see in duels, it's better to have heroes that are balanced on their stats and lots of stats. That's kind of like a little precursor possibly into combat. And that's all we know. So we don't know anything. And so how can you possibly say that giving dex to a sage, I gain literally nothing? Okay, the price tag for sages comes from their combat potential. Okay. I love sages, by the way. So it seems counterintuitive to spend the money for a combat hero, then not focus on stats on combat. Well, but dex is a combat stat too. Dex is a person too, right? I love this. I'm pushing back. So this debate's good. Maybe somebody on here watches this video and says, no, You have actual information that we know is true, not thoughts, conjecture. I love the opinions though. But the way this is being stated is so matter of fact, as if it's fact, but it's not fact. None of this is fact. But what happens, us as human beings, psychologically, we fall into groupthink and we think we know when we don't know. But there are some things we do know. If you have a sage and he's a forager, he needs to get as much dex and intelligence as possible to quest successfully as a forager so that he can level up faster. We know that. That's a fact. In writing, in stone. We know that's true. We don't know any of this is true. It's all conjecture. And so we're really going to feel that when we start hitting level 15, level 20, level 25, level 30. I can't even imagine. It's been such a pain in the arse to get my freaking thief from level 15 to 16. I can't imagine what it's going to be like to try to get him from level 50 to level 51. We're going to need all the stats we can possibly get. Because how do we get XP to level up? Maybe, hopefully, there's new ways that we can level up faster. The Brown Gent mentioned he thinks that there'll be ways that we'll be able to level our heroes up faster. I hope that's the case. And there might be new, different ways we can level our heroes in the future. There's going to be Profession 10 questing and things. But how do we know that? I don't think a forager is ever going to divorce itself from intelligence and dex. So that's what we need to focus on with our heroes. Another thing too is I have an array of sages. I have several fishing sages, foraging sages, mining sages, and gardening sages. All those sages are going to look different, so I'm going to have this sweet array of sages when it comes to combat. Same with Dread Knights. I have 1 or 2 Dread Knights, or 3. I think I have 3 foraging Dread Knights, like 3 or 4. I've got a fishing Dread Knight, I've got a mining Dread Knight, and I've got 1 or 2 gardening Dread Knights. All those Dread Knights are going to look different. So I'm going to have an army of Dread Knights and sages that I've been leveling them up uniquely so that now, depending on how all this pans out, I'm going to have options. It might just bring different uniqueness to the game. So that's another argument too. So for now, this is always subject to change and I might be wrong. But this is all the more, always, it's not wise to go against your profession. Don't ignore your profession when leveling your heroes. It also hurts the value of the heroes. From my experience of looking at the tavern every day for months at heroes and all kinds of things, the heroes that don't sell as quickly are the heroes that don't level according to their profession or are just bad for their profession. So that's been really obvious and apparent. And that's why so just tell me if profession doesn't really matter, if profession is just a small part of a bigger picture in the way you're putting it here, tell me then why is a paladin fisher worth so much less than a paladin miner or gardener? Why is an archer gardener worth substantially less? Like it'll be the floor hero. Why is an archer gardener the floor and worth sometimes, or like a thief gardener? Why is a thief fisher worth so much more than a thief gardener or a thief forager, but especially a gardener? It's like terrible at gardening. 35 wisdom, 50. I think it's 35, 50. Why is it worth so much less than a fisher? Why is a foraging thief sometimes the floor of all heroes, but a fishing thief might be double the price? Like side by side. Why is that? So just think about it. Don't ignore your profession. Now, if you look at a thief that's a forager and he's got really good dex and intelligence because he's been leveled up right, that will help its value. Okay, this video is too long. I always go too long. I'm crazy, my brain. So maybe you shouldn't listen to me at all and then I'm totally crazy. I think this is the most important part we should all be talking about in the game. Give this an upvote, guys. This is in the AMA questions on talk.defikingdoms.com. PvP combat questions for leveling heroes. Hey guys, could I get more detail on the future of PvP, as it is critical to understanding this when applying to leveling up heroes? Are there any specific stats that are better for PvP than others? Or would you say that all stats apply equally, though different, for all PvP? Also, are some stats better for some heroes in PvP, but not good for other heroes in PvP? So those are the questions. Upvote this, guys. We need to talk about this. We need to get the devs to open up, because this is the most critical part of the game right now. We're leveling heroes up. That's basically what we're doing. We're questing our guys in order to level them up. That's what gives them value. This is the most important part of the game. Don't fall into groupthink or think we know when we don't know. We need to actually know. I want to know. No, I don't know. There's only the things that I do know is that you want to level your hero up according to profession. That's all I know. How does it play out with combat? Because that will impact how I level my heroes up. We have to know this. It's critical that we find this out ASAP. Crypto Grady out. I love you guys. Like, subscribe, comment, bell button. Tell me what you think. I've been getting a lot of good feedback. My videos are too long. That's the main one. It's so funny because I always love long videos. I'm going to shut up now. Peace out.